We are live. Fantastic. Welcome, everybody. Hello, and welcome to Wazoku's webinar of today. Today, we are focusing on incentives, reward, and recognition. So first of all, we'll go through an introduction to Wazoku and how we can help organizations innovate with internal and external audiences at scale. We'll be introducing incentives, rewards, and recognition. And then we'll be showing you, Marianna, my colleague, will be showing you how to get the most from the platform features specifically focused around incentives, rewards, and recognition. So a little bit about Mezoko just to kick off. We are an enterprise-grade platform. We specifically help organizations with processes to help innovate at scale. We provide tools and resources to capture ideas and use challenge-driven innovation as the methodology to do this. We look at audiences both inside and outside of the organization and look at showcasing repeatable value creation. It's important that we engage, collaborate, and create that new work culture where anyone, anywhere, and anytime can collaborate and get involved in innovation. In terms of central processes for challenge-driven innovation, just a little bit to explain what we mean by this. So we look at a goal or a specific opportunity where we can leverage the crowd to really leverage their intellectual property, their ideas to provide a solution. So we find that problem, we then define what that challenge is. We select the suitable challenges for running that challenge and capturing the crowd, innovation and ideas, whether that also includes internal or external partners and suppliers. We go through a process of evaluating those solutions, and then we look to integrate those solutions into execution or on for development. So today we're very much looking at incentives and rewards and recognition as a way to drive participation, to encourage that behavior and that repeated engagement. We appreciate that there's a lot to cover on this particular area, and we're looking very much just to show a few insights into how this can be done, as well as leveraging the Wazoku platform to do that. Incentives, rewards, and recognition are ways to collectively mobilize your crowd. They can help drive participation, encourage the desired behavior, and also importantly, repeat engagement. Where I've seen particular successful application of incentives, rewards, and recognition, there has been a very good understanding of the crowd demographic and what would appeal. And this is really important to ensuring that you get successful engagement from crowd. Marianna will share ways that the Wazoku platform can incorporate the key elements of incentives, reward, and recognition to support sustained user engagement and quality contributions. So if we look initially at our methodology, planning our challenges, we have 5 key elements. First of all, we look at the business stakeholder. Who is the key business sponsor who's going to be responsible for the problem or the opportunity of this challenge? We look at the problem or the challenge topic that you are looking to address. We look at the engagement, so the target audience, the communications plan, and importantly, how you're going to incentivize your crowd, how you're going to reward them, and specifically, how you're going to recognize them through this process. We also look at the process for selecting ideas, not just the selection, but also the gathering all the way through the evaluation to the actual selection and identification of those key solutions that you're looking to take forward. And then finally, timelines. Really important to ensure that you get your timelines right, because you want to have those particular ideas or solutions, give them the runway they need to be implemented. So today we are looking at the audience element of our methodology, in particular, the incentives, rewards, and recognition. So if we start to break that down, incentives are, as I said, a way to motivate, to encourage or inspire that participation. Importantly for the challenge, they can bring focus to the topic and highlight the business impact and benefits. You should always set clear expectations and commit to the incentives shared. These should be consistent, relatable, and deliverable. Through recognition, we spot those users who have contributed, made significant effort, and achieved success. So in terms of incentives here, I've got some just examples, really outlining the personal business impact in finding a successful solution to that business problem. You could reduce time. So you could potentially say, you know, by reducing time to complete a process, then frees up time for professional development. Or through participating in this challenge, you will learn how to complete X and develop certain skills from working with champions and leaders. Each of these ways incentivize the crowd to participate because they get some level of benefit from doing so. Recognition is key to identifying and acknowledging the contributions and effort, and also in particular the successes of individuals and teams. And the community, I think it's important to also weave the recognition into the communication plan in support of that drive of engagement, encouraging particular behaviors and activities. The Wazoku platform features activities that recognizes participants. And there's some examples here. You can see Marianna will show these with you shortly. You've got peer-to-peer, which can be achieved through the leaderboards, leadership through commenting on ideas, and then behavioral, which is key through communications, highlighting desired activities and ways to engage. I'm also seeing an increase in terms of recognition around particular roles, for example, evaluators and also the sponsors too. And then last of all, we have rewards. So rewards are usually given in recognition of achievement, effort, or service, or all of the above. As innovation becomes more embedded into our organization and our way of working, we are seeing that the culture of innovation is changing our approach to rewards. Essentially, they should be, if you are using rewards, they should be affordable, they should be deliverable, they should be consistent and relatable. Rewards do not always require a substantial budget. Sometimes the simplest of things can really create an impact to the individual. And you will, I have an example which I will share with you shortly, which really demonstrates that. And this also speaks to knowing your crowd and understanding that demographic, their location, their organization geographically, as well as really understanding what's important to them and what drives, what motivates them. So some examples here, I think rewards can be extrinsic, so it can be the latest tech, it can be iPads, it could be iWatches, it could be monetary, although that does drive particular behaviors, or vouchers, or intrinsic rewards, which is more focused around professional development, opportunities, and personal growth. I just would like to finish with a really nice little use case today, which I think really nicely demonstrates rewards, which has not had any particularly large budget behind it, but has such a lot of meaning to the individual involved. The customer is located in the US on a large manufacturing site where people would have to get the bus from their car park to the front door of their workplace. As you can imagine, it's a very large site with one of those massive car parks. The reward was the use of the CEO's car park, which was located at the front door of the building, and that reward lasted for a week. So the benefits that we saw here that were not immediately visible was that the idea creator was able to reduce the time between his front door and actually walking into his office. What that actually meant for him was really important. It meant he got 20 extra minutes with his family every morning for a week. So that for him was very personal, and he was thrilled to bits. There were other benefits in that everybody got to see his car at the front of the office, and obviously it raised the profile of the program because everyone was wondering how he managed to do that. So I just wanted to leave you with that, and I'd like to hand across to my colleague Marianna, who will show you through what the platform can do.
Thank you, Lisa. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well in this Wednesday afternoon. Today, I'll walk you through, as Lisa mentioned, some platform functionality to share some practical insights and examples of how you can use the platform to support your incentivize, reward, and recognition strategy. So I am going to share my screen and ask Lisa to please confirm that my screen is now available for everyone to see. Lisa, can you see?
I can, Marianna, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So welcome to the demo site. Some of you might be already familiar with this space. It's a space which we use to showcase how you can best use our platform and leverage platform functionality. As my colleague mentioned, before reward and recognition, we want to incentivize participation. We want to incentivize the right behaviors. And from a platform perspective, there are different ways in which you can do that. You can do that by making your crowd feel like they're part of the process and they fully understand it. You can do that by providing training and development opportunities, as well as providing peer recognition. So starting from how do you make your crowd feeling part of the process? Often that comes down to a good and transparent communication. I sometimes see quite brief challenge overviews, but it's important for us to remember that a good challenge overview will always provide the end users with the criteria for submission to inform your users against which criteria you are going to evaluate and prioritize ideas against, how the challenge works, what will happen to the ideas, and what's the process for selecting them. But most importantly, to incentivize user participation, we want to make sure that we're highlighting what's in it for them, why they should participate, why they should put efforts and resources into our challenges, as we're doing here, for example. You can also incentivize participation by providing development opportunities and by providing your audience with the opportunity to gain new experiences outside their day-to-day job, and really getting them an opportunity to be exposed to different colleagues, to different topics, and to different projects. You can do that by encouraging users to join ideas as part of a team and get them exposed to colleagues from different areas and departments, creating cross-functional teams across your organization, as well as using tools such as the business model canvas, for example, or the lean canvas or the SWOT analysis to get your crowd involved in the development of ideas and solutions, using some of the most recognized business models in strategic management, developing a different set of skills and expertise in your crowd, getting them involved in projects which, as I said, they're outside their day-to-day job and which it would have not been exposed to otherwise. So as you know, on our platform, you can use Canvas in a gather stage and in any development stage, and team members will be able to participate in the development of those ideas into well-formed solution by adding cards to the different section of the canvas, as well as by shaping existing content by using social functionality as voting and commenting. The last thing that I wanted to cover before we move on to recognition is how you can use tokens to actively involve your audience in your processes, in your challenges. If you want to set up tokens in your challenges, I recommend reading the article Using Tokens in Challenges in our knowledge base at support.wazoku.com to get some guidance on how you can set that up from a technical perspective on your platform. Because tokens are a great voting option to include your users in the idea selections process. You can grant tokens to all users, to groups, or to individuals at different stages in the challenge. And ultimately, tokens are a democratic way to engage your crowd in the selection process to inform your idea selection and progress your ideas through the workflow, achieving, I believe, in my opinion, two benefits at the same time. You will enable and incentivize your users to actively participating in your scheme, as well as offering peer recognition to the idea creators that see their ideas recognized and promoted by the crowd. So, to recap, we've looked at how to leverage platform functionality to make your crowd feel like they're part of the process, to provide development opportunities and exposures to different teams and different projects, as well as providing peer recognition. Moving to the next topic, more than rewarding, really, we can leverage our platform to recognize your crowd. I'm going to give you here 3 things that you could do by using the platform to do that. Number 1, you can use the platform to recognize your crowd by recognizing successful ideas on your homepage, by running specific challenges with the aim to recognize your crowd, and by using gamification. As you know, you can build different homepages block to feature different content, and a very easy way to provide exposure and therefore social recognition is to feature implemented ideas on your homepages. Of course, that you can do that on your main homepage as well as in the different spaces. So, for example, in our operational excellence idea space, we are featuring successful ideas, allowing users to interact with the ideas directly from your homepage. Secondly, my favorite way to recognize your crowd, because in my opinion, one of the most impactful way of doing so is to run targeted challenges to recognize your idea creators, your innovators. Idea Creator of the Month, yearly idea competition, innovation awards, top collaborator awards, annual innovation competition, and I'm sure you've heard of many others, both internally and externally. Those challenges are a great way to recognize your employees and incentivize them to participate in the process of recognizing them. So double benefits here as well. I wanted to share with you today what we're doing here at Wazoku. Currently, we are celebrating the latest winners of the Wazi Awards, which is a yearly competition that we run every year before our Christmas event. We run different challenges against different awards, giving everyone in the business an opportunity to stand out, an opportunity of being appreciated by their peers, but also by our leadership. And finally, you can use gamification leaderboards. In the past, we've been talking about gamification leaderboards. I believe that gamification a very good way to prompt specific behaviors and recognize all sorts of contributions outside idea creations, also outside idea creation. Leaderboards, which you can showcase at a platform level, as you can see here, at your community level and at a challenge level, are a great way also to spark some healthy competition and recognize users' behaviors on the platform, which in a way you can influence by weight points more heavily on the activities that you want to encourage, as well as tidying your gamification points to existing reward and recognition schemes, of course. So to recap, and something that I would like you to have a think about and maybe giving it a go, to recognize your employees, we looked at how you can use gamification, how you can run targeted challenges to recognize your audience, and how to celebrate success by featuring content on your home pages. So those are the things that I wanted to cover with you today to show you how you can incentivize your users on the platform and how you can recognize them. That's all from me, and we can now open the floor for any questions, if there are any.
I think, Marianna, we've got a quiet crowd today.
We do. That's okay. It was gloomy afternoon here in London.
I think recognition and is quite key, actually, in terms of the various different elements around incentives and rewards. As I mentioned, rewards are becoming less favorable, and there is more of a drive towards having that culture of innovation and very much working towards that recognition, either at a peer leadership level, as well as, obviously those incentives to participate. It would be interesting if... Sorry, Marianna, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I was just wondering if anybody's got any thoughts, or if anybody's got any of their own experiences or best practices around incentives, recognition, and rewards. I think we've got... Hi, Tim. Have you found non-financial rewards to be highly prized, particularly in a well-salaried cohort? There's some interesting studies which have been done. There's a couple of videos. The name Dan Pink may be familiar for some of you. He's done a couple of videos and studies into various different ways of motivating crowds. Excuse me. And I think there's definitely, obviously, as you look through the organization, and this is why I say it's important to really understand your crowd, as you look through the organization, having a sense of what appeals to who and what level of hierarchy. For example, you wouldn't necessarily give, if you are looking at gifts, a piece of hardware can have more value perhaps in somewhere where there is less availability of it than perhaps it would in the UK or the US. A really good example of that is actually using monetary elements, which is geographically, £10,000 in the UK is regrettably not going to get you quite so far now at the moment, but perhaps £10,000 in India or in South America has a significant difference. So I think non-financial rewards are becoming more popular, and very much more a focus around having those things where there's career development and there's personal opportunity for growth.
We might have another question from Ricky, who is asking how important is communication when looking at rewards and recognition, as well as another question from Team on how would you define the prize at the start of a competition.
So in terms of communications is obviously key. You need to communicate to people that you need to get the message out there around why the challenge is important, what the business need is, or the business problem is that you're solving, and then also really relating it back to them. And then I think also throughout the engagement, throughout the challenge, having that communications to drive, recognition can sometimes really drive up engagement at a particular week during the process. Additionally, if you're at that period of time throughout the challenge where you're looking at evaluations and the general crowd is not required to engage as much, having some of those recognitions, announcements can really help keep the challenge front of mind throughout that process. I think the other thing around incentives, reward, and recognition is to layer it. So it's not just about on a challenge by challenge basis. We're also talking about having it at a program level. So thinking about at a program level, what are we looking to try and achieve? What's the behavior that we're trying to encourage? Is it collaboration or is it ideation? Are we looking to potentially have awards across the organization specifically focused around innovation? Marianna, do you want to pick up the prize piece?
Yeah. So Tim is asking, would you define the prize at the start of the competition? I would suggest, yes, to do that. And that's because when building a transparent communication around the challenge process and by making it super clear to your end users what's in it for them, you're really helping yourself in incentivizing your crowd and making sure that you get the best engagement out of it. So I would definitely say yes. And I've seen different clients doing that in a different ways, but keeping the eyes on the price is always a good way to boost your engagement and incentivize your crowd, whatever that price is. As Lisa mentioned, the price being an opportunity for personal development, the price being intrinsic or extrinsic, whatever the price is. Would you add something to that, Lisa?
I think you've hit it well there, Marianna. I think you've hit it well. I think, obviously it's important if there, with prizes or rewards, I think you can really use them to drive that behavior. I think you hit it, Marianna. You can leverage it either at the beginning, or you can sometimes even put in some spot prizes if you need to drive up engagement.
Perfect. I don't think there are any other questions, and we are right on time. So thank you everyone for your participation, and we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar.